weekday. It's not bad the way you think. Good morning to you. Good Thursday morning from Milwaukee. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Brewers 10, Pirates 2. That happened. Milwaukee sitting comfortably in first place, took 2 out of 3 in the series. Martin Perez gave up 5 home runs in as many innings. And if we're talking about that, we're talking about the wrong stuff. See, we can do that. I could play for you the audio of what Perez had to say when I asked him if there was any pitches that were giving him particular problems. And you might be a little bit extra enlightened as to what actually unfolded here. And at the same time, you're not getting anything. You're not getting anything that's actually making all of this failure recur year after year after year. The Pirates lose. It's what they do. They lose. I prefer to make lines of demarcation between front offices. I think that's fair to the people who are currently at hand. Oh, it's also, theoretically fair to the people who precede them. But I'm also not an idiot, and I get that the owner's been in place since 2007. Bob Nutting is the one constant, and he's been a bad owner in pretty much every way that you can be a bad owner. That said, when I look at baseball operations, when I look at what Ben Cherington's done, when I look at this being year 5 of Cherington and his entire staff, of Derek Shelton and his entire staff, with the exception of Andy Haynes, who was hired to replace Rick Eckstein 3 years ago. They've been there. They've been there this whole time. This is year 5. This is year 5. This group collectively has a .403 winning percentage. If you look at it as a 4-year stretch, which is probably fair considering the COVID season in 2020 was only 60 games, it's the 5th worst 4-year stretch in franchise history. That's not something that you excuse. That's not something you say, well, they were rebuilding. Of course they were going to struggle for a while. Yeah, that's just normal. No, rebuilds don't take this long. They really don't. Go ask people in Baltimore right now how long theirs took. Meaning from the time that they actually began it, not how long the Orioles were bad. You can find examples all over. Doesn't take this long. It doesn't take close to this long if you make winning decisions. They haven't done that. They haven't come close to doing that. And now, here they are, staying with the bigger picture, having lost, well, start with this, 6 out of their last 8, but 23 out of their last 33. Did you even realize that? Or do you get, and I get this way too, stuck in the day where you say, man, Martin Perez really struggled, that's rough. I wish Perez hadn't struggled today. Or get caught up in a blown save or leaving bases loaded in the 9th inning or something. That's all, it's just stuff that's in the window. It's not what's inside. You want to know what's inside? Henry Davis was sent down to AAA a couple weeks ago. Henry is 3 for 19 since he went to Indy. He's got 7 strikeouts among those 16 outs. Termarr Johnson, unlike Henry, was a number 4 overall pick. Henry was number 1. Termarr is hitting 176 for Class A Greensboro. And get this one. Our staff came up with this stat yesterday at DK Pittsburgh Sports based on a J1Q that had arrived to this program a few days back. The MLB pipeline, top 30 prospects in the Pirates organization, has 18 position players on it. Those 18 players average out to a 176 batting average. I'm going to say this again because there's no way that penetrates the first time. The top 18 hitting prospects in the entire system average out to 176 as a batting average. Want to know who else is hitting 176 right this second? Rowdy Tellez. It's like there's a great big rowdy factory happening here. So we're talking about the recent past. We're talking about the present. Now we're talking about the future. And they haven't done a damn thing about it. Not one thing. When we come back, J1Q. This portion of Daily Shot of Pirates is brought to you by our friends at North Shore Tavern that's directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. It's home of Steak on a Stone, an eating experience, underscoring the word experience. The steak is brought to you partially cooked on an 800-degree stone, and you do the rest. It's a ton of fun, it's a great meal, and it's a baseball atmosphere like no other in Pittsburgh. North Shore Tavern, right across Federal Street from PNC Park. Today's J1Q comes from Mike, who says, DK, what happened between spring training / week 1 of this regular season and now? Not that the Pirates ever had a bashing lineup, but it seemed consistent with some power numbers. And there were some power numbers to go with it. I know spring is spring, but still. Mike, you know, I mean, I say this every spring, never, ever, ever, ever pay attention to home runs in Bradenton. It's the windiest atmosphere for baseball you'll ever find anywhere at any level. And that never seems to penetrate. You know, you just see the highlights and you go, oh, look at that. Week 1, played the Marlins. We've seen what the Marlins have become. And yet there was stuff that I liked too, that I saw. It was in spurts. It was mostly individual in nature. More than anything, what I liked was the starting pitching, and I hadn't expected to. Now, here we are, 6-7 weeks later, and the starting pitching is still the team's strength. So I don't feel all that terribly misled by anything that occurred in the spring, because you can never take that offense seriously. And I've liked the arms, and I like them that much more now that, Jared Jones has shown himself, obviously, and now that Paul Skeens is here. But the rest of this, remember, I was the one that reported that line from that scout who was watching the team right there in Bradenton and said, who's going to hit? Tell me, who here is going to hit? Other than Brian Reynolds, Brian Hayes, who's going to hit? And, we're still kind of asking that question, only in way more explicit terms than what we might have conceived back then. So that's what happened. They aren't any good at acquiring hitters. They aren't any good at all at instructing hitters. And whenever hitters go into a bad way, they don't have answers for it. So they'll stay there. So even though you saw some guys get off to good starts, as soon as something was going to go wrong, they were going to get into a rut and really, 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 really have it last. I don't enjoy saying this at all, but the same thing's going to happen to Nick Gonzalez. He's come up here, he's swinging, got another base hit here yesterday, swinging at the first pitch. That's not going to happen for him. It might just be osmosis. It might just be that he gets infected through something in the air or whatever, but he's not going to be swinging at first pitches. And as a result, you're just going to see his numbers decline, and there aren't going to be any answers for him. They're going to send him back down like it was his fault. That's where this is. That's where this is. You know, I'll bet there are people who do shows about the Pirates who can make you feel a whole lot better about them. That's not me. I'm happy to do that whenever it's real. I really, really am. But this isn't it. This isn't close to it. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. We will do another one of these tomorrow.